it's critical because we have been socialized and we have been developed by the people around us. And the truth is, you never ever really meet yourself until you meet God. Because, and I'm not humanist at all, but I do believe this, that the people around you limit your conceptualization and hold you hostage as it relates to how you feel about God. And what he does is he takes himself out of your sensual perception, which allows you the freedom to see him any way you choose. I feel it. The problem with the pulpit is that we try to clone everybody. And we try to make everybody the same. But if I make you the same, then I make you to disappear. Because the uniqueness and the idiosyncratic attitude that you have about God cannot be duplicated or imitated. Can I take it further? No one of us in here have the same concept of God. And he allows himself to be different to each one of us. Because one, we've been socialized different. Two, we have different psychological development. Three, different revelation, different manifestation, different gifts, and different experiences. And so what God expects is for me to understand him within the parameters of my own existence. And that's why I have to fellowship with you. Because your conceptualization of God and mine cannot be the same. And the reason I fellowship with you is I don't have it all within the limitations of my own experience. And you don't have it all. So I need what you have with what you have and with what you have and you have in order to understand the length, the breadth, the depth, and the height of God's love. And even after all of us come together to understand it, he still says he's able to do hupapenta, exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or even think. I feel the power of God. You see, the problem is that we have allowed influential people to negate the significance of our faith. And we spend our time trying to adopt everybody else's faith as if something is wrong with ours. Can I take it further? You see, once your conceptualization of God is formed within your own experience, it now determines the uniqueness of your faith. Because he does not allow himself sensual perception, which means he allows himself to be big or little as you think. He is as big a God as you want to make him, and he's bigger than you can make him. And he can be as small as you want him to be. Now, it makes no sense for you to hate me when I see him as a great big God. Because you chose for him to be little in your life. And that's why I'm so glad that he takes it outside of my sensual perception, because he allows me to think of him any way I choose. So I'm not limited to the way you think. And the bigger I make him is the bigger he makes me. And that's why as I magnify him, he magnifies me. It's critical because everybody does not want to see God within the parameters of your conceptualization. And oftentimes, because they have limited God, they become haters. They become haters. I'll give you this one, tweak this one. If you have no haters, you're not that gifted. Amen. Because automatically there are two energies that flow inside the room. And that is when God begins to allow you the vision to see him as a great big God. He also then allows your faith to move in the same way that you see your God. Because your faith in God cannot be separate from the concept of God that flows in your mind. And so faith then becomes a fingerprint. It becomes an individual fingerprint for the thing I believe God for. And that's why people around you don't believe like you do, because oftentimes you have been raised by the crippled, the blind, the halt, and the lame. And they will tell you that you can't be all that you declare you would be, and you can't go to the heights that you declare you can go, because they don't have your concept of God. Neither will they ever be able to duplicate or imitate it. And that's the freedom I have when I serve God. And that is, you don't dictate to me how I ought to feel about my God. And if you want to be limited in your attitude and in your life, that's up to you. But don't put on me what it is that you want to live with. It brings me then to the question that was asked, wilt thou be made whole? And I had problems with that simply because I couldn't understand why Jesus would ask a man who for multiple years was trying to get to the pool. And the answer came back ultimately, well, I'm going to heal somebody around this pool. And I want to know, will thou be made whole? I have something for you that I'm not going to give anybody else. But before I release it, I want to know, will you accept it? Because I don't want to waste what I have on somebody that does not want to make the quantum leap. See, I understood now that you can't be around lame folk and blind folk and crippled folk and it not rub off on you. Because much of our lives we have spent around folk who aren't going anywhere. And they have the unmitigated gall and audacity to tell us, you can't make it without me. Have you ever been around folk who will tell you in a minute, you can't be anything without me? And they want you to lean upon them and they become your crutch. So every now and then when they feel get ready, they pull the crutch out and leave you to fall on your face. And then you've been around folk who are blind, who have no vision. And every time you tell them what God has shown you, they'll tell you that ain't going to ever happen. And ain't nobody in this family ever had $1 million. Ain't nobody in this family ever been to college. That's you, but that's not me. Because I see God bigger than you see God. Because he's allowed me to see him in any manner that I choose. I feel something happening. Hold it. Don't move yet. But I'm almost there.